Okay. So now the session is mediation, a way of life. So that's what we're going to be discussing. So now, of course, we are, of course, a little bit about the conference, although we have spoken about it. I will just put that up. Yes, every session is a new session. So, so Nina, why don't you talk about it? Why don't you tell us about the conference?
Yeah, the conference is, if I understood it right, is that Mediator Vikram, he wants to have a revolution for dispute resolution. And this man, Kenneth Cloke, is a very interesting person when it comes to mediation. He has a lot of experience, and I bought one of his books when I studied mediation. It's called Mediating Dangerously. I love that book. So I think he's a very good role model for this whole revolution.
Yep. So the World Mediators Conference goes on from, it started on 18th May on Ken's birthday, goes on till 30th June. Of course, on social media, you find the schedule, get in touch. There is the topic that you want to discuss, please let me know. So let's go straight to the topic, Nina. Mediation, a way of life. First, Nina. Who's Nina? We have to get to know you. So please.
Who's Nina? So Nina, she, yeah, I am connected from Sweden. I'm a mediator, and I have worked with problem solving for more than 30 years. I have met people in all kinds of situations that have taught me that we are all the same, more or less, and people are trying to do their best, even if they eventually find themselves in very difficult circumstances once in a while. So that I have learned. So therefore, I love people, and I love to interact with people, even if I even find myself difficult at times. But mediation is very close to my heart, and I think as you have invited us for this dispute resolution revolution, I think it is really powerful if people understand, and if we try to get that knowledge out there for people to understand what it can do.
Great. So what you just told us about yourself, it shows that it is a way of life for you. That's
Mhm.
exactly what it's all about. So basically, we don't even have to go any further. That's it, way of life. But of course, you can. We need to talk about how. For me, I'm trying to differentiate between the profession and the way of life. So we are having a separate discussion of mediation, a profession, because
Mm.
that is something we need to put out there. Because the way, if you're taking into that very technical direction, maybe you might just take away from the essence of it.
Mhm.
So that needs to be discussed. That's why this whole idea of discussing a way of life.
So what do you think then is the distinction between the professionality and the way of life?
I am even saying that I'm asking that question, is it a profession? Because a profession requires certain qualification. It
Mm.
requires some training. I am saying that people do not need training. The people who have the mediator mindset, however they have the mindset, they've got it because of experiences of life, because of their genetic structure, because of their upbringing, their value system, how they've got it, that this what kind of a soul they are, what kind of spiritual development they have, what kind of a heart they have. I mean, all those elements go into it for me. So
Mm.
to even put it down as a profession in that sense, look, you can have all this and make it your livelihood. That's one way of looking at it. The other it, you start from this very technical aspect, and then you start, who's going to gauge someone? Who's going to say that now this person is qualified? Where are you going to gauge that person's spirituality? Are you going to go into the person's heart and test Nina's heart? Oh yes, she has a good heart. She can be. Are you ever going to be able to do it? What kind of a soul she is? Will you be able to tell us? Who's going to tell us? Who's the person to gauge this? It is a way of life, and people who actually interact with you, they know this aspect about you. So if they have to, there is a dispute, they want to bring someone in to resolve it, they look at you, okay, let's bring her in, because of all these aspects they have seen about you. It do say that, oh, you are a certain certified mediator and go to you for that reason. That might actually take away from the way people perceive it. So that's why the aspect of way of life. So what do you look? Just look at, consider yourself.
Yeah,
You think,
I think the both perspectives are needed, because I think still you might have some training to become a mediator in a professional way, of course. I think I think it's necessary, I think. But also, if you see life as a school, so if you have gained in your life schooling and references, and yeah, life took you through a lot of challenges. So you understood what a mediator, and I mean, like, what a trained mediator understands. Then in a way, you could be a mediator without having the training. But no, I'm still for training, and I have not really thought about this, so I cannot say really why I'm like that. But for me, my mediation training was very interesting. I loved every second of it. I had to challenge myself. I had to reflect over myself. I had to understand why I wanted to do this, and to I had the opportunity to meet so many wise people in this mediation mindset world. So I grew from that. So for me, it was very important to have the training.
was I tell you what, I'm Nina, I'm using the word skill development.
Ah,
I'm saying that the person has the skill, because by, again, by using the word training, what is really happening is, in a way, one, we are devaluing that person's skill and other
mhm,
elements that they bring to them, so that we can train you for these things. So
yeah,
I don't like that usage of the word. I'm saying the skill is there. We'll develop the skill, and the skill will develop, and
okay,
skill will be developed by life and its experiences, like you said. Skill will develop by reading. Maybe some people like to read. Some people like to maybe discuss. Whatever way, like you said, you interacted with so many people, you had discussions. Reflecting is something that, of course, you should be doing all the time, every moment. So if you had been maybe busy in life in other things and you stopped reflecting, you can always start reflecting. So reflecting definitely will improve your skill, definitely.
yes,
So so those elements being part of your life, those elements also being part of life. So all those things, one, the skill being your part of you, you making it your way of life, and then
mhm,
all these other things of skill development, however you have to do it. You read Mediating Dangerously. You maybe in some way could, maybe you just felt that you, it connected somewhere with you. It just connected somewhere, so it was there inside you, and you connected to certain parts of it which you maybe did not had not have got time to think about. Your your whole maybe thought process were on a certain direction. That direction changed because of connecting to something. We don't know what really happens there. So I'm saying that there is something inside you, which then even Ken Cloke, him in, I don't know whether you've been have been able to get time to watch all these videos that I have on YouTube.
no, no, no.
But
Some,
start with the first one. Start with
yeah,
the first one. The first one was, I started a series called Evolution of a Mediator, and the
mhm,
first one was with Ken Cloke. So Evolution of
yeah,
a Mediator, Journey of Ken Cloke. So that's the first video on my YouTube channel. So
mhm,
have a look at that. He
yeah,
that talks about, of course, he's in that series. These senior mediators, they talk about every element of their life, their growing up, and even
yes,
I go backwards about their parents growing up, and maybe reach their grandparents also, because it's all connected to who the person is. Because what value system, I keep talking about the value system that comes into you based on your interactions with people and what you have seen around you. So all those things are important. So in that, he makes a statement. He says that I went for a lecture about mediation, and in 2 minutes flat, I knew my life had changed.
mhm,
So one way of him looking at it was that lecture changed his life. And I'm saying that all those things that he had gone through, this was much later in his life that he went for the lecture, but all that he had gone through, which you will watch in that episode, and you will see, and actually there are 4 parts.
yeah,
The 4
mhm,
episodes with him. So you can always go to my YouTube channel. There's a playlist celebrating Ken.
Yeah.
Celebrating Ken Cloke has all the videos of all the events and shows that he has come on with me.
Mhm.
So that by itself, I think there are about 13, 14 videos there. So you have about maybe 20 hours of shows to things to watch. So you can watch Ken Cloke first. You can do that. But of course, in 4 episodes, he's taken us into minute details about his life. So all those were important to reach that point when he connected to something.
Yeah,
He
of
connected to
course.
mediation.
Mm,
So
I agree.
that's why I'm saying that maybe that exposure to a certain lecture might inspire someone, connect that person. So I started a series called Lectures About Mediation by the Best in the World. So I put a few lectures out. What I'm now creating it is kind of a structured program of skill development,
Mm,
so that every element, every aspect then gets taken care of as topics. Like today, right now in this conference, we are dealing with a lot of topics.
mm,
So of course, I felt that people can maybe watch these. This is also, look, if you go for a skill development program, these are things that you will obviously be talking about. So definitely all these are important. So this is also part of these larger skill development program. Then you have all the various other symposiums that symposia I've done on mediation in our culture and traditions, on heart, soul, and spirituality.
mm,
All
mm,
those, all the other discussions I've had, everything forms part of that skill development. We spoke about Mahatma Gandhi and mediation. We spoke about Socrates and mediation. Of course, we've spoken about women and mediation. Then there's a whole series of conversations. It's called the In Conversation with the Beautiful Mind, with mediators from around the world. Just a conversation, but in those conversations, you will be able to see what their thought process is. So that part of it is available. So in terms of skill development itself, there is so much other than what maybe I'm not putting anyone's training down. I don't know. I don't want to use just because I'm using a different word and they cover certain things in it. Perfectly all right. If it connects someone to something, I'm okay. But the next stage of it, when you say we will evaluate you, we just discussed on the last session about the uniqueness of every person and every mediator and every dispute. What can you really evaluate about this person? First of all, this person, their way of going about it might be so totally different from you. But with certain parties and in certain disputes, in certain processes, will be able to handle it, which you might not be able to handle. So what are you gauging the person on? So I feel I have a problem with that also. Everyone
mm.
as an individual brings something to the table, which you also don't cannot gauge because you don't want to make clones of anyone. You don't want to make clones. Everyone has to handle it in their way. Because how do I, in whatever, in you, the way that a person that you are, the way you talk, I don't want you to start talking like me. It won't work for you because every package is different. I can't become Nina because there's so much that goes around her. The way you talk, the way your tone, your expressions, everything. That's you. But you connect with people because of what you are. So you bring in what your authentic self. So that authentic self, how can I change that? Should I even change that self? Saying no, you become like me. You start talking like me. Talking. No, it's never.
No,
It should
nobody
not
wants
happen.
that. Nobody
Yeah,
wants that. But still, I think a certain framework is good. For me, for example, when I think I started to mediate a long time ago in my life when I didn't even know the word. I
exactly.
had no clue what I was doing. I was just doing it. And then in my work with this problem solving, I learned to negotiate and mediate and keep people calm and things like that. But then I had this big crisis in my life. I had a burnout once. It was over 20 years ago. Then I had to face myself for the first time and see who am I and what led me to this crash down. And then I think that is the most difficult part in every person's life, to face yourself naked and to see what is here.
Okay.
But that came, of course, I received some help. I had psychotherapy and was talking to psychologists, and they helped me to open up to myself and to my life. So looking back, that was the most precious thing that could happen. Many people would have maybe continued to be in a certain depression for their whole life. But for me, afterwards, this was my entrance ticket to this path I'm on now. And then at my workplace, that meeting happened when I just mediated, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But afterwards, people said, "That was fabulous. What did you do?" And I said, "I think I translated what was said in the room." And from there, I had more interest. And then I found a course in mediation. I thought, oh, maybe I should take this course. So for me, it was a long journey of understanding first, like finding a word for it, because I didn't think it was anything special I did, and that there even was a word for it. So for me, those courses has been excellent, all of them. In the first course, I met people from 23 different countries. Only that, I mean, was fabulous. So these kind of courses also bring people together with the same interest, with the same, how to say, root as a mindset. So for me, that was really good. And we all could develop together, and we could challenge each other, and we could praise each other. And yeah, for me, it was important. It was an important step to have the training.
I just feel that sometimes the thing is that first thing you connected with yourself. I think connecting with yourself was something which was important, which
Yeah.
of course you had things in it with the skill or the mindset, but maybe there were other things happening. So first you connected with yourself, and at the same time you connected to something which you, like you said, you didn't have a word for it, but the process was something which connected with you. And then because of this training, I'm still using the word training here,
Yeah.
training connected with you to that whole process the way it is, but it was all a aspect of you.
Yes,
That's
of
what I'm saying, a
course.
way of life. Whether you would have appreciated this process, whether you would have taken to mediation, maybe before all that burnout happened, and what the kind of person you were at that point of time, whether it had connected with you or not, we don't know. So it is also which, at what point of life you are with yourself. And that's why I feel that being that way of life kind of thing, and being something which is an inherent part of you, is something which is at different points of time with different people. Everyone can't appreciate or even benefit other people when sometimes they're not connected with themselves. So it's different stages, at what stage you take to it. So there might be a seed somewhere, but that seed hasn't grown. And then slowly, because of whatever situation, sometimes the sun wasn't there and suddenly you were kicked out and then you got the sun, or who knows what happened. But the tree started growing. I mean, of course, when you have the larger tree like Ken Cloke grown at that level, but someone at a smaller is a smaller tree maybe, but they all grew. That seed was there. That is what we have to also, of course, discuss. And that series of evolution of a mediator was also to bring that out, which I'm not putting out, but people by watching it might be able to see some common aspect of some thread between all these people. So that aspect of it, about what really goes on, what really connects the person with themselves first, and then with the environment around it, and then when they can connect to people. So there are lots happening there on that end. So I'm not saying that you should not be sitting with people from 24 countries and talking about mediation, but to say that that is when you actually developed the whole of all the aspects of being a mediator, I would not want to put it that way, because they'll be too simplistic. Then we are saying that in 40 hours, some people are saying, if you, I mean, look at some promotion things that they put out for courses, that will make a mediator. We'll make you a mediator.
Yeah, the making of a mediator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they make you a mediator in 40 hours. I mean, come on, again, don't demean mediators. Don't do that to mediators. There are lots more that happens. And
Yeah,
again,
but in
that's
that
why
aspect, I agree with you totally, because I think just the course cannot make you having all or develop all these skills, but it will help you with the framework. So maybe some people would need that to understand the process, and some other people, they would start. It depends on what kind of end you're starting, I think.
I'm telling you, how what I've seen is that in terms of the process, the people connect to something which they already are familiar with. They know everything about it, but
Yes,
someone
of course.
puts words around it. So they get words to whatever they have or they're already doing. Without those words also you were doing everything, but it
Mhm.
connected you to the words. And for
But it
some
helped me
people,
also to understand myself and what I
yeah,
was doing
exactly.
better. So it gave me a wider framework. Without that course, I wouldn't have let's say, developed myself as I have done.
Exactly. That's the thing, that for some people, that course, like I'm saying about Ken Cloke, that just that lecture changed, like he said, changed my life. Now, if
Mm.
he had not gone for the lecture, maybe he would have never gone in that direction. So
Exactly.
I'm perfectly all right. You go, you can
Mhm.
attend, and but
Mm.
don't say that you were made a mediator because of that course. I mean, or some people who are doing the course say we
Okay, so
may
I
be
start
made.
to understand the depth of how you mean. Yeah, I understand. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
because I'm telling you, it's now it's going to be, that's what maybe has put mediation and not made for it to be to take off the way it should, because
Yeah.
of those reasons. So someday we made you a mediator, and
Mm.
now you can go out in the world and say you're a mediator, certified mediator by so and so. But how is that going to help the process if
Yeah.
there are certain things or the foundation, those core elements, all those aspects are not there? You can take someone through a particular activity, and that person can repeat that activity perfectly all right. Okay, talk like this, say this. These are I've given you 5 situations. In these 5 situations, if this happens, do that and all. So program you in that. But that's not going to help you in the real world situations, because you don't know what you're going to be faced with. So
Yeah.
I can't. So if you have it in you to discover it, if some you've gone for a course and you've discovered that aspect of it, the course has worked. Damn good.
Mhm.
It worked. It got connected you to something about you.
Yeah.
But to now for you to be able to, whoever goes through that and says, now I have been made a mediator.
Mm.
I talk all this. You can't be made in a 40-hour factory. You can't make a mediator in 45 factory. So that's why I would have issues with that aspect of it. On
Mm.
the other end, in terms of way of life, it was always a way of life for you.
Mm.
At what
But it
point? I
goes
mean,
for, but that
yeah,
goes for every profession then. I mean, if you
I,
become a lawyer and you don't know yourself well, if you become a psychologist and you don't know yourself well, if you become a doctor and you don't know yourself well, or
no, no,
just, I mean, just a degree doesn't make you excellent.
no, we have to see the other thing. Say if you're a doctor and you're a surgeon. Now to tell you that this is this artery and you cut it like this, and this is the way you make that incision, those are things you have to be trained on, because you did not grow up, you did not come into this world knowing how to perform that surgery. So that we have to differentiate that aspect. These
Mm.
are all professionals. Everyone is a professional, but in which profession do you need to learn certain things? So that
Mm.
is when it becomes a profession. But
Yeah.
in what kind of an activity you don't have to learn something from this training, but this is something, there are certain qualities which are part of you. Whether you are able to develop those skills, whether you even recognize those skills, that aspect of it, how that happens is something we don't know. Whether if it does it happen in that particular training that you went for, or it could have happened. It could have happened. You said you were sitting in a particular situation and you just did that activity, and that activity worked, and you later got to know what I did was mediation. So it
Mm.
was there in you. So all those aspects should, I for me, be given lots of importance, because they
Mm.
are being sidelined, and because of it, the people who are maybe practicing it might not have everything that is required, so the user experience is not as good. And if the user experience is not as good, the word of mouth mediation doesn't spread.
Mm.
So
Exactly.
it's
Mm.
not what, I mean, how does it help
Yeah.
us? So
Mm.
because I mean, there was that last symposium, that one in with that mediation and culture and traditions. There was a mediator from the UK.
Mm.
He said there are 18,000 certified mediators there. Only 500 have work.
Yeah.
That sounds serious to me.
Mm.
It's a
Yeah.
little too serious. First of all, for 14,500 people paid for, or 17,500, 18,000, 17,500 people paid, and lots of
Mm.
money. In the UK, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
They paid lots of money. If you just
Mm.
multiply that, that's the kind of industry that has developed on the other end. But
Yeah.
what was the effect of that? If these people were doing something which was really adding value to people's lives, they would have so much work. So maybe that's where something has gone wrong. Or on the
Mhm.
other hand, you might say, look, the mediation has not spread the word. So if these institutions who are going out and saying that we are making mediators, they are not doing enough work to promote this. So why are they then misleading people by saying that you will become a mediator? What is that becoming a mediator if you are not mediating? It's not a stamp on paper or something that you need. It is a, again, it's a life, a way of life situation. So you are going to be, you should have to use it. It's not going to be something that you get a certification and now you've done it. Now you've got everything going. Now you are going to get work. No, people have to first understand, yes, the process and use it, yes, but also benefit from the process. The user experience has to be there.
But
So
I think that all those 17, say that those 17,500 people that paid for it and went through the training, and just because they are not like working at as like just calling themselves mediators or like that, they might of course use or all their skills in whatever position they are. So it's still spreading peace and it's still becoming a way of life, maybe.
so that's what I've been trying to put across, and in a lot of these discussions, also I talk about this. That look, there is one, whatever you might want to call it, conflict management, or just being a good human being and having good conversations with people. Okay,
Mhm.
very nice thing. So call it that. Call it that. When you say you're become making someone a mediator, that is a skill by itself, totally different from this aspect of managing life and creating peace around you. And again, I have always used the word that non-violent communication that's been
Mhm.
spoken about, that how you have to communicate with people. That's a different area altogether.
Mhm.
Don't say that because now I've told you about all these elements, now you become a mediator. That's, like I said, that's demeaning mediators and mediation. There is a lot that goes into that. So to take certain things from a training and to use it in your life, which is the same thing, which is what I keep talking about, the peer mediation aspect also. Peer mediation has also gone in that direction where these aspects are what are told to the children, and you should then be able to create that peace around you and all those things. Very nice things are told. The mediation part of it gets left out, although you use peer mediation, but the whole thing of them being able to sit down and actually resolve a dispute, that aspect is what they have to experience. So you will hear them, they'll have some things about, oh, you should tell the other person what you feel and should be able to communicate, and they have those kind of sessions with them. That's not resolving a dispute. Resolving is actually being able to reach some kind of an arrangement or settlement or something like that. They should experience that part, so that it's like empowerment. They actually feel, yes, they can do it themselves. The third person, like a authority figure, is not required in that process. It's their process. So leave it to them. So first identify those people with the children with the mediator mindset there itself, and they will take the process through. So those are things that I'm sure that they must, all these people, 17,000, all 18,000 would have benefited in some way. I'm sure they would have benefited, and they would have taken something back. But did that help in terms of being a mediator and in terms of taking mediation forward? That I don't know. That I don't know how you feel about that.
I think I think I think the training should not be negative for anyone, at least. I mean, I think everybody who goes into a training with an open mindset will still learn something.
I'll tell you,
And
Nina,
and the more we learn and the more we reflect over how we learn. I mean, all that say that there is 20 people in a training, they will not learn the same thing. They will all put it into some holes. I mean, in their the knowledge they already have. So they will adjust it and they will adapt it to what they really already know. So I think yeah, they will gain and benefit from it, all of them.
I'll tell you the negative part because I've seen the
Mhm.
negative part. Now,
Mhm.
this is a person to person, this is a human interaction that we're talking about. Mediation is that part. Now, what happens with some of these people is that they go through, they had that. So Nina had that in her. She had that in her. Now she went for a particular training, and in that training she had put, there was a certain box that was told to her. This
Yeah,
is how you have to do this. This is
true.
how you do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Suddenly, Nina lost that confidence in herself,
Mm,
because that was totally an unfamiliar thing which was put to her. She
yeah.
had everything naturally in her, all everything that she needed to go do a proper, nice mediation and actually help party. But suddenly, that confidence went. I know these people, some people who've gone through these trainings have spoken to me about that. So they just don't have the confidence of doing it. Although they, I'm not saying they started off whether they had it or not. I don't know, because at that part I have not gauged, because I'm not sitting in their mediation or whatever. But the confidence level, if it falls, suddenly you think it's an unfamiliar process for you,
Mhm.
while it has to be a natural process for you. That
But then I think
connection.
the way of giving the training is then needs adjustment then, because when I give training, I use with student-centered training and student-centered. Everything is student-centered. I tell very little to them, but they have exercises, they work together, and they reflect, and then that's the only way of learning. And then I am sure they will not lose their confidence.
Because I'm saying that, look, the various elements of that individual. Of course, I've got three things that I've identified and spoken about. So many other things we talk about. Three things which I spoken about the last month symposium. Last month, now it's April. Heart, soul, spirituality part of it.
Mm.
Where is the opportunity? Like I told you the last session was, where is the opportunity to gauge that aspect and to bring out that important aspect of that individual, to be able to tell them, look, what you have here is special. You are special. This is what you bring to the table. This is what you have which other people don't have. Where does that happen? I don't know whether any training tells you that, or to talk, brings that aspect about these three elements. We can talk about lots of other elements, but this aspect, now the person doesn't even, they think that this is some programming that has to happen.
No,
No, there is a
I do not agree with you
there is
on
a
that.
hardware. I'm saying there is a hardware that is there, and then on top of that certain programming happens, is a different thing. When you say that there is no concept of the hardware, we will program something which there has to be something inside to program it on. That hardware might be missing. So on the face of it, you might see something, but when you do the calculation, it might not happen. So I don't know. You of course don't agree with me, so please.
But many people, I mean, if you look at when I went to school, yeah, we started singing some kind of a psalm from the book, and it was connected to some I don't know, religious traditions. We had one teacher, and she was talking nearly all the time. We could only like say, "Yeah, I know the answer of this," and I mean, were we really there? I'm not sure. For me, school was a little bit difficult in that sense, but I have learned now. I'm not a teacher, so I'm not like professionally trained, but I have learned to give trainings in a student-centered way. And as I have seen in my students, of course, they might not have told me the truth and things like that, but I have facilitated them every morning for, yeah, I had trainings for 2 weeks for a while. And we started out the first morning. My colleague thought it was a little bit unuseful because they couldn't understand why I was doing that. But I said, okay, this is my way of doing it. When you are having your lectures, you can do whatever you think is good. But on the last Friday, all of them had grew, and they could tell us clearly what had happened to them emotionally, knowledgeable, professionally, and what they wanted to do with that knowledge. And of course, some of them, they just started because, as I said, everybody in the room didn't learn the same things. The same material was going through them, but they learned different things. But they all went up some steps in a stair of learning or whatever. So that student-centered learning, I like that very, very much. And for me, I have seen it's very successful. But if you still have a teacher and you have a PowerPoint and people are just, yeah, this is this, this is that, this is that, this is this is this, that's useless, I think, more or less. Yeah,
That's exactly what the point is, that the
yeah.
way what is actually being done in that session, however, now no one knows what happened inside. What
Mm,
did you do? Now if you have a concept of Of course, they have these mock mediations to gauge people, and all that aspect is there. But that's theater. Some people can be good at theater, but when it
Mm,
comes to real life, does that
mm,
help them? That they do things there or not? Because I even you have these mediation competitions, and I see these children. It's kind of a script. On one, I actually was judging one competition, and this one of the boys there in that competition took it so seriously that he was actually performing.
mm,
He had taken that role in a manner where he was actually performing, so it was theater. So okay, theater is good, I'm sure it's good. I mean, you can always create theater, but this is real life. Don't think that you can actually, it's not that you can do a drama inside a mediation. It takes a lot more. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not getting into that. I'm sure the people benefit. I'm saying that if you connected to something that you felt this was your calling. Again, that's another session we have, mediation, a
yeah,
calling.
yeah.
So if you
Mm,
felt that it was your calling, where's the harm? I mean, I see no harm as long as you haven't gone and sold your liver or kidney and gone into a training. Perfectly all right. But some
yeah.
people are spending, I mean, lots of money with that ultimate thing that, okay, now we are going to be certified as accredited and all, but there is no work coming to them. So what is the reason for that should be, you have to dig deeper into that part also.
Mm.
But if someone wants to go and sit in a room and learn something, who should stop them? Of course, they should. Like I said, as long as you don't have to sell a body part to do it or an organ to do it, then it's okay.
No, but nothing is useless. I mean, if I have an interest, of course, I want to learn as much as I can about the subject. And if I think that I have this, say that I feel that I have this mediator skill and this mediator mindset, would that be enough for me? Would I learn or how my own development? How would that be if I'm not searching knowledge or like? For me, I'm always searching for more knowledge. I'm
Look, I
reading
tell you,
things. I'm going to courses. I'm discussing, having conversations,
but look,
and how to say I'm challenging my own beliefs sometimes just because I want to evolve.
as I'm saying that, look, evolution can happen in a lot of ways. So for you, if evolution is happening there, what is the issue there? Perfectly all right. But the other side, when you say that, look, when we were talking about, I think that's last session you're talking about that the aspect of maybe is it all right for certain people to mediate, or it was something about whether you, I mean, is it safe for,
Yeah,
is
exactly.
it dangerous for
Yeah,
some
can it
people
be
to do?
safe
Yeah,
if you
safe.
don't have any rules or any
Now
framework?
on the
Yeah.
other end, is it safe to put people through a certain training? Again, training word used there. So
Mm,
to put them, is it safe to put them to something which it doesn't bring out the natural part of it? Instead, gives that little box and say, look, now you have to do some things in that box. And yes, based on that, you've got a certification.
mm,
So to the world, you can go say, yes, I went for this and I was given this certification. Now, who did that training for you? Who was that person certified? Did you go into that aspect of it? Is there some the whole concept of some person being able to say that this person has or everything it takes to impart something to the other person? You have chosen yourself to be that trainer or instructor or whatever. No one certified that part of it. Okay, you might say I went for this course or I went for that course. Okay, that's a course that you went for, but did that make you good enough to actually impart knowledge to the person to that extent when that person can go and actually sit to resolve a very, could be a very complex matter of two people, and you
mm.
said, look, it can sometimes be dangerous to send anyone in that room, but is this
But
safe? Is this safe because you've gone through a certain process and they've been given a certain certificate to do that by
I
someone who,
think every training aims to develop that kind of critical thinking or to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. It's aiming to prepare you from
okay,
wherever you are
I'll give you an example.
to
No, I don't know.
managing this. And I have difficulties to see that that would be something bad. I understand what you mean, that if you only have the training and you don't have the personal skills, or you are not how to say um, Yeah,
I'll
you
give you the I'll
don't
give you
have
the
a
example.
mindset or whatever. But for me, my training at the university in Ireland, I loved every second of it because I saw every time I went there a new dimension of mediation and another dimension and a deeper dimension and a wider dimension, sometimes a more narrow dimension of mediation. So it helped me to shape my full picture of what mediation is. And that was very useful for me.
So understanding the larger aspect of what mediation is and where all it can be used and all those things is perfect. That is the process. I'm giving you an example.
Mhm,
Being a mother. Okay.
mhm.
Now someone says, I'll train you to be a mother. Only then can you be a mother. Up till you're not certified to be a mother, you can't be a mother. The state will decide what's that, or someone else will decide. And who is the person training you to be a mother? Is there something that what a mother brings and that connection between the mother and the child? Last session I was talking about how I look at it. Look at it from the perspective that these are children and the mother is there to help them resolve the dispute. So same way, like I said, if there's a mother is there now, can I, as you like, supposing you're wanting to be a mother, right? And I say there's a training that you have to do. Would you think that's the right way to go about it?
I
Only
think
then.
I
No,
think it's a
only
very
on the mother
difficult
part.
question
Only on
because
the mother part. Nina, only on
yeah,
the mother part. We're not going to get to mediation right now.
no,
Only on the mother part.
but being a mother and being a parent is the most difficult work and job in
Can
this
you
whole
be,
world.
all I'm asking you is that should there be a training to be a mother? Only then there has to be a certification that you will get. Only then you will be allowed to be a mother, because that's more dangerous than being helping someone resolve a dispute. You're helping shape a individual. The child you are going to shape because you're the mother. So
I
it
understand what you
happens
mean.
naturally. It's a natural instinct. It happens naturally. Each child is unique. Each mother is unique. That is why this world is the interesting world it is. Otherwise, we would be making machines out of these would not be children as children. There would be robots, and we'll be sending robots in the world. That okay, this is the training that a mother will get. This is what she has to do with the child, and that's it. This is the box I give you. I mean, come on, are we living in I mean, there might be some country or countries in this world who might want people to come out like that. It's not the way we
But I think
give.
it's not fair to say that every mediation training doesn't
We're not talking
have
about, no, we're not
that
talking about mediation trade. No, we're
aspect.
talking about mother only mother. No, we're not going to talk about mediation at all. We only stick to the mother part of it. I just tell me about from the mother perspective.
But there
That
are also families which are not so healthy for a kid to grow up in.
so should we stop we have
So there,
people
yeah,
from being
but
mothers?
therefore, our society also creates some laws that if there are violence going on, how can we save the kid? Sometimes in some cultures, some other relatives might take care of the kid, things like that.
No, is
So
that going to be?
nothing is like, it's not about right or
No, no. If
wrong.
we are not talking about
No,
the end result, we're not about the end result. We're saying the starting point. We are at the starting point. Can you be a mother without you going through a certification or someone else saying, yes, you are fit to be a mother? Who is
I
that
can.
person to decide whether the way you will bring up a child, what you will bring to the child, what value systems you will bring, someone else will decide for you?
Yeah, but Vikram, when I became a mother, I didn't know anything about motherhood,
Yeah.
naturally. But of course, as I'm an open-minded person, I started to ask my mother, how did you feel when you had me? What were the difficulties? What were so that is a kind of learning, and it's you might call it a box. It's my mother's box of her experience. But for me, I could ask her, I could listen to her answers, and I could take whatever I thought was valuable for me.
Exactly,
The
exactly.
same is for any training, I think. You
No,
take
this is not the thing. Here it is about you have to be your mother, because that's what your mother is gauging you on. Are you her or not? If you are not her, you are not fit to be a mother. That's what the issue is with. You will, from your end, have to have that kind of a freedom to think the way you want to think for your child. And it is on a day-to-day basis, on a moment-to-moment basis. Of course, if I go back to mediation, that it is a moment-to-moment situation. You don't have this kind of a time that, oh, 1 minute I will go for a training and come back and I will now take it to the next step. No, you will deal with it at that moment. Same thing with the child. For every instant, you can't go to your mother. Every time you can't. There will be moments you'll have to do things on your own, but were not told about it. Your mother did not tell you about it, but you had to, because it's a connection between you and the child. And that is the special connection that we have to connect with and take it from our own self. Everyone will not be able to. That's why everyone is not a mother. They're fathers. Everyone is not a mother. So mother, and again, let's not say that only women are going to be mediators from that. I'm talking about mother from the aspects that a mother brings into the in the child mother relationship. So I was talking about those. So don't say no. Now only mothers can be mediation mediators. Don't we won't take it to that extent. But I just think of it from that perspective, that there are certain natural things which come in with mother brings in. And you might say that yes, you have seen your mother doing certain things. That is what your experiences of life are. That's exactly what I was saying, that there is a seed somewhere which grows with your experiences in life, what you see around you, and you've picked up from there. And you did not pick up everything that your sibling picked up. You picked up what you picked up, sibling picked up what they picked up. But because of those experiences that they had, that they picked up from. But to say that I now your mother will sit down and tell you this is how you are how to be a mother. No, you did not find certain things which are all right with her, maybe, but you felt that you were processing it from a different angle and you came out as a different person. Otherwise, we'll stop having that individuality. We'll stop individuality. We will be telling people to do things in a certain manner, and women will be told this is how you have to be a mother. It can't happen. I'm telling you, it won't be possible. And you will lose the confidence in yourself to be a mother when you are told this is exactly how it takes place. This is how the mothering process happens. No, there is no mothering process. It is a moment to moment. It takes goes in whatever direction with different the child, the way it behaves, the way that in that moment what it wants to understand, what you're doing. It's a very complex human interactions are very complex. To put it down to some simple formula or a box, it's a problem. And even to say there is a structure that I can give you, it's not possible, Nina. I don't know. You were looking at it differently, maybe. Please,
I
I'm
think
open to
we
this.
have different experiences from trainings. First of all, I think
I don't have any
we
experience with
look at
training,
trainings
Nina.
in a very,
I don't have
but that's
experience with it.
okay, and it's okay not to agree. But maybe we should leave this and get into another aspect of mediation, a way of life, because we are a bit stuck here. But
You're
but I
absolutely
think
right.
it's
Yeah,
okay to not agree.
absolutely. No, I think way of life part of it, I think we've understood. I mean, that part we've already discussed that aspect, that definitely there are things which you are doing as part of what you are, and that's the way you are taking it forward. And the other end is that it is the comparison between the way of life and profession. That's one part of it. What other aspect do you want to distinguish it with something else? Because I was trying to make that distinguishing thing between the profession and the way of life. That was
Mhm.
one thing. Because when I talk to people about, look, well, we have to connect people to the process. So you talk about people who in their families whom they feel have that mediator mindset, then in communities who have that, and with all of them it is a way of life for them. But what has led this person to think that this person has that mediator mindset? What is the qualities that that person brought in which this person could identify? So that was what these I mean, in terms of way of life and conduct, your conduct. It could be your honesty, your impartiality, definitely. They have noticed that. People notice that. So tomorrow, even a family, if there's a dispute and you want to call someone in your family to be the mediator, you are going to be gauging something. So what all are you gauging there? So let's look at that part of as way of life. The person's value system, the way they conducted themselves in the family over the years. They saw their conduct, they saw how they dealt with people. Like I said again, the partiality aspect is out there to see for them. Okay, this person was like that. So all those aspects of that person's way of life were those important things for them to bring in that person as a mediator. So people know those elements, which is a way of life. Same thing with communities. There are these people whom they call the elders, could be calling them elders or whatever. They might not be elders. They might be people who they have that confidence and trust with. So the way they conduct their life, Because a lot of them, if you go down to villages and I mean other communities also where people are practicing, not saying that they are mediators, but doing the process, they're not doing it for any money or anything. It is their way of life. People come to them. It could be because of the respect they've had for them over the years. Or maybe other people have benefited and told them, so they've gone to them. But it is a way of life for them. I don't know how you like Sweden. I'm sure
If I look at myself, because I can only compare myself to myself, I cannot compare it to anyone else. I mean, I'm unique, you are unique. In my life, I hope that I'm contributing with the mediator perspective in my private way of life as well, with being open-minded, always giving people more than one chance, maybe two, three, four. Understand that I don't have the answers to everything, always being curious, always creating a safe space and being, how to say, being ready to assist if somebody wants my assistance, and not be triggered so fast by things. And I mean, to reflect, better to take a step back and to reflect over myself. Sometimes I can feel that I'm getting angry. So then better not to react, but to take a step back and feel that feeling of angriness inside of myself and try to understand first, why is that brought up now? Why is this so strong? This is what I think, I hope I contribute with. And
no,
there also it should be less conflicts where I am then. Of course, I can only talk for myself, and people might not see me like this, but this is what I hope for as a way of life in mediation.
no. Now, Nina, what we're doing is we are going beyond ourselves. Ourselves, perfectly all right. Now we're going beyond ourselves. So now I'm asking you, within your community or within your family, think of someone that if you have a dispute or if there's a dispute in the family, this person you will bring in to help you or those people to resolve the dispute. Think of someone, family, community, workplace, anywhere. Think of that person. If you have someone in mind,
Yes.
okay. Now think of that person, because this is not now the whole thing of now certifications and all has been put out of the picture. This person is just a person you've identified because of certain qualities, because the way they've conducted themselves in life, and that is how it's a way of life for them. So what all can you bring out about these people? Any person, even
What skills they have?
exactly.
Mm. And they are willing to listen, first of all. They're good listeners. But they have also challenged themselves in certain ways, so they know themselves well. And by that, they dare to meet others. And they dare to ask a question because they are not afraid of the answer.
Can I go one second? What I'm going to do is, let me put these points, because you've come out with very, very good points and you've brought these out about people who have it as a natural part of it. So good listener, you said good
Uh-huh.
listener.
Mm.
They have something about themselves, you said?
Yes, they have some, they know themselves
Know
quite
themselves.
well.
Once they know
Mhm.
themselves. And then you said,
And what did I say?
that's what I say, very important things you were saying. That I should have slowed
Yeah,
you
you should
down.
have. So easy to forget. No, but I said no. They dare to ask a
Ask
question
questions, ask
because
questions.
they are not afraid of the answer, and
One
that's also
second.
because they have met their own fears.
Not
So therefore, they manage to meet other people's fears, something like that.
perfect.
They are calm. They will not react fast. I mean, and be triggered fast. They will be. They will. What is it? Eftertanke in Swedish. They will be maybe reflective. They will reflect, and they will give people a chance um, to tell what's really important for them. They will not buy the first answer. They will wait for what's under the first answer.
Perfect. Interesting things you brought out. So this is all these things are a way of life for some people.
Mm.
And that's what I'm trying to say, that aspect of it is there, out there. It is a way of life. It's
Mm,
just that to translate it into an occupation of something which someone gets paid for, that discussion we have to have, whether that should happen at all, or should we all be doing other things and only doing this as a way of life. Is that also we have to decide whether we should, I mean, discuss at least that, is it going to be ever looked at as something that people will pay for, value? Because all these elements that you put down sometimes don't get valued, because it just is something that someone brings in, because today we are talking about it, so you're actually putting down into points and you're actually being able to think of that person from various aspects, but still you haven't covered everything. If you now go back and over the next one day or few hours think of everything else about this person, about these people, you'll be able to list out lots of more points
mm,
about the person itself. As again, I will go into heart, soul, spirituality, value system, all those elements. Right now you're looking at the exterior elements, then the interior elements. When you list all of them out, you will notice that this is a natural way of life, part of some people.
mm. One
And
more point that is very important is that I'm not sure if it's the correct word, but prestigelessness. No prestige.
something like, no, that humble
Yeah.
humility,
Mm.
humble humility,
Not there to win anything,
yeah,
just to try
humility.
to understand.
Then things like trustworthiness,
Mm,
trustworthiness,
mm,
and of course impartiality. All
mm.
those
But also
elements.
being able to build rapport
Yeah,
quickly. That's a very
exactly.
important skill. I don't know what that is in Swedish either, but
No, no, absolutely, that's right.
build
So that's
rapport.
what I say. Can you do me a favor? When you have time, please list out all these things that you said. Pick up anyone in your head, anyone
Mhm,
that you know of this who has that
mhm,
mindset. List all of them, and you it's important to actually discuss this. And so one of these other sessions or somewhere we'll discuss it there also,
mhm,
because that's exactly what I want to bring out. And when I'm saying identify those with the mediator mindset, and someone asks me, what are we looking for? So
mhm,
I'm going to say, don't, first of all, don't look for these elements. You will
mhm,
yourself know when you talk about this person, and you will see all these elements will come out.
mhm.
So,
So
but
what would you think is are the most important skills then? If you could list only three in this mediator
heart, soul,
mindset.
spirituality, heart, soul, spirituality, beautiful soul
Yes, spirituality, yeah.
has that, has brings in their heart, that warm heart of theirs, and spirituality. And
Mm.
spirituality, not, it's not religion. Some people
No, I understand
know
that.
this beyond that. So I have
Mhm.
3 points I've told you. But let me first give. Actually, someone in the last session had given a comment which I did not take up at that time because we moved from there. Very nice comment. Indeed, a very healthy discussion between both of you, giving insights about the process of mediation, different perspectives, perspective and advantages of court annex mediation, and so on. Enjoyed watching it, and certainly look forward to have a live discussion sometime soon. Of course, to share his experiences. And of course, some nice things for me. I won't repeat it. It's nice. I'm reading it here. It's always nice to hear nice things. So there's some nice comments there. Beyond that, for this one, I have, because I tell you, I haven't. I don't normally. Sometimes don't end up checking the comments. So it's nice to have a look at that also,
Mhm.
to see what people have to say. So anyway, Nina, always a pleasure speaking to you.
Yeah,
So
same. Mhm.
no, these conversations are important, and look, people appreciate it also. So that's also, if someone in some way connects to it, which is what we were saying about people going for trainings, it connects to some part, it resonates with some part of them. So I think that by itself is, for me, we've done something, we've added some value somewhere. So I think perfect, Nina, very nice talking to you. And we have later in the day, what sessions do we have today?
Mhm.
Today we have theater and mediation at 6 o'clock India time.
Mhm.
Then we have mediation and calling. Then we have ego and mediation.
Oh, wow. Mm. Interesting topics, all of them.
Yeah, interesting topics. And any other topic you think of and you need, the time slots available, well, we create a time slot. Let's have these
Mhm.
discussions. Let's have this. The person who had written this comment, Bharat Kumar, he might want to discuss something. Well, we call him for some. I'll call him for some discussion. So I think These are the conversations we have to have.
Mm.
So Nina, anything, any closing remarks, please?
No, it's just good. It's just good to have these kind of conversations because it helps me to define what I'm doing in a better way. And I think I'm not in a box at all. I learned mediation in a certain format, yes, but it also gave me freedom to use me as an authentic, unique, what to say, part. And I think that uniqueness and the authenticity is the most important when you meet people. So, no, but
Absolutely.
thank you. It was a very interesting conversation, and it made
Oh,
me think. And I will continue to feel and think about this conversation, and let's see what will come out
perfect.
of it. Mhm.
Perfect. So
Yeah,
thanks a lot. And the good part is, like you said, that you were able to look at it from, of course, you picked up certain things, but you were open to thinking about other larger things, and you were, of course, that flexibility that you had in your own thinking, which was important. So at least you were not defined by that box, or you did not close yourself in that box. So that is the
exactly.
important part, which is
Mhm.
for me a bit of a fear for some people, because some people are not able to understand that. So you were able to understand that part, that this is something I pick up from whatever I need to, and this is not a small box or anything which I have to take forward. So perfect. So thank you very much, and see you. Please attend sessions. It's
Yeah,
always nice to have you.
yeah. Thank you so much. And at least we will see each other next weekend.